I'm Julian Zelizer of the Longview.
And I'm Jonathan Alter of Old Goats.
John, this week, Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi announced that she'd be retiring from Congress. And I was thinking back to 2007 when she became Speaker of the House after the 2006 midterm elections. And it's a reminder of what midterms can do. In 2006, a lot of Democrats were certainly still feeling pretty down. President Bush had been reelected 2 years earlier against John Kerry. Hurricane Katrina had exposed kind of real incompetence in governing. And of course, the war in Iraq was raging and deeply unpopular with so much of the country. The Democrats put together a very successful midterm, retake control. Pelosi's the speaker in 2007, and she reverses course on so many things. I do think she pressured a fundamental change in how the war in Iraq would be fought, with more of a focus on winning support from civilians. And then she puts all kinds of issues on the national agenda: the minimum wage, health care, and much more, and really kind of sets the path to 2008. So it's a reminder of the power of midterms and the role that she played in revitalizing the Democratic Party. What are your thoughts?
So now that she's announced her retirement, I think it's an appropriate time to take stock of the fact that Nancy Pelosi is the most powerful woman in American history, full stop. So the only one who could possibly come close is Hillary Clinton, who was First Lady, Senator, and Secretary of State. But if you look at healthcare, for instance, Hillary Care, as they called it in 1993 and 94, failed. Right. They got some stuff done later in the Clinton administration. Obamacare, on the other hand, which, as we all know, changed healthcare profoundly, ended the era in American life where you had to sell your home, in many cases, if you got sick, or declare personal bankruptcy. That's over. Largely thanks to not just Barack Obama, but Nancy Pelosi, because after a special election in Massachusetts in early 2010, it looked like Obamacare was dead. And even the White House had kind of given up on it. And Nancy Pelosi pulled it over the finish line. And that was only one of many major pieces of legislation that we would not have if it were not for her. And you can tell by the abuse that was heaped on her by the Republicans. They called her drunk when her husband was attacked with a man wielding a knife. Trump and his minions laughed at it, which is one of the most disgusting things of all of the disgusting things that they've done. But it was because Nancy Pelosi was so effective. So compare that to where we are right now with Mike Johnson, who I think a year from now and a little more won't be speaker anymore. I'd be very, very surprised if the Democrats don't take the House. As we saw, like all of the new support that Trump got in 2024 from Latinos, it's all gone, and then some. Donald Trump is in deep political trouble, and when he's in political trouble, that means Mike Johnson is as well. And they're not even on the same page at this point. I mean, Johnson is saying that, it's the Democrats' fault, the government's shut down. Trump the other day says, no, it's the Republicans' fault. Johnson is flailing when asked to explain why the House isn't even in session. It's obviously because of Epstein. They don't want a vote to release the Epstein files, which we're now learning are worse than anticipated for Donald Trump. So the president and the speaker are in for a very rough road. And I think at the end of his speakership next year at this time, Johnson will have, I guess you could say the big ugly bill, but a lot of that won't last. And a good chunk of it will be over when they finish these negotiations on reopening the government, where the Democrats now have the upper hand.
Well, there is no question when we write and read the history books, Nancy Pelosi will be a very significant figure in changing the course of the country during these decades. So talk next week.
Yeah. Thanks, Julian.